Let's be real here. Strike Decksets really leave a bad taste in a lot of players' mouth because it's a very easy way to invest into a competitive gaming scene of Vanguard. Yes, you do need to buy a very expensive cards to fully utilize the deck power, but the fact that it is very good out the go already kind of says a lot on how overtuned Strike Deckset has been ever since the Chronojet Deckset has been released. So before we receiving another 2 Strike Deckset, we are getting a stand-up Deckset, which actually go back to the main mechanic of Willdress, which is quite a nice breath of fresh air. And not only that, they are reintroducing 2 of the right line that was introduced in the game DD into the format and make it very playable for a lot of people. So today I'm gonna be talking about every single stand-up start deck, so Gramgrace, Favneel, and Orfist, and say are these worth bang for your buck. My opinion on this is a little bit different from a lot of people online, so it can get very spicy. So if you guys enjoy this kind of content, consider clap that subscribe button as it will help me tremendously. And without further ado, let's start off with Gramgrace. Gramgrace as a boss unit is actually quite a good boss, as it actually is a good mix between tempo, utility, and offense, as Gramgrace can easily generate +2 every turn while still enabling your center back row to be another regard for attacking, as well as giving the personal power to the back row. This leads Gramgrace into consistent 4 attacks, with 2 of the column being high power due to the personal bonus is being applied to every single unit on the field. And for the deck set wise, I would have to say it is a very good deck set. With the guaranteed reprint are cards like Painkiller Angel and Drilling Angel, 2 of the most used Keter cards in multiple of deck sets, and something that the deck need a lot. Kabbalah, a very strong generic that Gramgrace can take advantage of, and the new card that they introduced, Knight of Soaring Defilement Dive, which actually makes the whole boostable column even hitting harder. The problem I have with Gramgrace in general is just that without the Fern buyout, the Gramgrace tend to be on the shorter end of the stick due to the fact that the power hitting is just not as high without Fern buyout, and also that additional drive that Fern buyout does give is really helpful. And also Gramgrace tends to have soul problem if not managing it properly. In terms of what cards they are giving for the reprint, I would have to say it is, in my opinion, one of the most useful.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
You see, the reprint cards that they are giving for Gramgrace are Terna, Caribe, Velvet Angel Therapy, Leche, and the Minowa Cup Water. So, why I say this is the most useful? You see, in terms of the price, these cards put total cannot beat some of the other deck set reprint that they are giving. But to me, I feel this has a much better use in the long run. Terna being an easy counter charger and give you a soul as well, so this is like a grade 2 Popamine. Caribe is a very generic superior color, while still can help you search for any grade 3 or greater card to be put into hand. So cards like Cup, another personal copy, or something like Suggest. This thing can help you search and add it to hand, using it, keeping it for the later use. Velvet Therapy is just a very good card to use for discarding in general. And last but not least, Leche, which is, in my opinion, quite important. Not as important as it used to be, but the fact that it also helped to loop Gramgrace very well is something that should not be underestimated. And we all know what does Minerva Bathwater do, so I'm not gonna talk too much into that aspect of it. So overall, I would have, out of the score of 10, I think I would have to give the score of solid 8 to Gramgrace. The reason behind the point deduction is just kind of boils down to the fact that for Gramgrace, you do still need to get Suggest to actually fix the issue. This is because of the fact that Keter currently has a little bit too low of a power scale compared to the other strongest deck right now. So if you want to make your Gramgrace competitive, there are a bit more cards that you need to invest in to actually make it work. Moving on to Favneel, and personally, I'm very invested in this deck set. Not only because of the fact that I'm a Dark State main, but finally, they are giving a Dark State deck that are actually not that painful to actually play. And not only that, the card that is actually introduced in the Strike set is actually really good. And not only that, among the three, I feel it is the easiest to complete build the deck. And the main reason behind that is because some of the most important card that Favneel kind of needs is already been given in the deck set in general. Looking into the deck set has cards like Shoutout and Gunram and Link, which are very generic and very useful card for Dark State, though it's a little bit on the older side. And most importantly, Squalid Freak and Horodis. So Squalid Freak is a promo that was given I think a few months back, and it is quite a crucial crux to Favneel in a sense that its ability to treat itself as grade 4 and also its ability to boost the entire front row for the rest of the turn, as Favneel tends to have a weaker front row rear guard. And moving on to Horodis, which in my opinion is very powerful card. To put it simply, Horodis fixes the issue that Favneel has for the longest time, and that is the fact that it doesn't have Persona right.
But wait! There's more!
Yes, you have my Minerva Bathwater, but you know, it is not enough. And not only that, Horodis actually make the Persona writing for this deck very easy because you are activating this card effect from Soul. So you don't even need to have the Persona copy cluttering up your hand. So this is one of those decks where even if you have nothing left, you can still go into Persona Ride and actually push the opponent if needed to. And moving on to the reprints, I will have to say, in terms of the value, it is one of the lowest. Even though there are some of the very expensive cards in this list, cards like Falcate, Brainwash Swirler, Minerva Cup, and of course LA Gold, which is quite crucial for the deck. And that is where I have to pull some minus point for this deck set. You do need a few cards to make it work. Fortunately, those cards are not exactly expensive. With all that point considered, 7 out of 10. I deduct additional point from this one is because compared to decks like Gramgrace and also Orfist, I see that Favneel need a bit more help outside to actually make the deck really strong. So overall, very good deck set. Not as good as the two, but it is still something that I feel Dark State player will be very happy if they're trying to build Favneel. Moving on to the very last deck set, we have Orfist. And let's be real here, Orfist are a very easy deck to build to begin with, as most of the cards are on a lower side price of life, with the exception of the staples like Mine and Combined Rusher. So what makes this Orfist deck very unique is that it does give you everything that you need, and also Polaris Dragon, which is the new card that are given, which essentially allows you to have 3 different orders set onto your order zone within the span of 1 turn, which is really huge and very disgusting for the Orfist of choice that they give into the deck set, and that's Regis. So overall, I would have to say among the 3 deck sets, I feel Orfist deck set has the least value. This is because a lot of, like I mentioned before, a lot of these cards can be found at a cheaper price. But what makes this deck set so cancer and some of the most popular deck set to pre-order right now is in the reprint they are giving. You see, they are giving Elementary Sanctitude, Mine, and Combined Rusher, the 3 cards that I feel are very important for Vanguard and also for competitive deck building in general. I would say now, the value of these 3 cards in total are just outweighed the 2 kind of missed cards that they include. Though Urban Robust is actually very good card that I feel a lot of people tend to overlook. But when you consider everything overall, I would have to give Orfist deck set in terms of score a 7 as well. As I said before, the deck that comes with the deck set is not very good to begin with because all the cards can be obtained for more or less roughly the same price. But the fact that it does come with the very powerful reprints kind of outweighs that kind of problem. So do I recommend to get this deck set if you are a new player? Yes, these are some of the best deck set you can get and some of the best entry into Vanguard, especially for Orfist with how readily available everything is provided for the deck. But if you are long-time players, is it worth to invest in these deck sets? Only the Favneel is the most worth it because Horodis is that important to Favneel right now. You whacking a deck set just to get Horodis alone is worth in itself already. While the rest of the cards like Gramgrace and Orfist, I think not necessary because, you know, by the time that this deck set come out, the player who do play this deck should have all the cards that they needed, and the unique card that they did give are not as impactful as Orfist, in my opinion. But yeah, that is my thoughts on the deck set. What do you guys think? Leave down in the comments below, and yeah, that's all I have for today. Take care of yourself, and this is McMegane signing out.